goddamn get it on, will ya? Woo. When the blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories, we running through New York.
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over why you should buy a BMW E60 M5 in 2020. Now there's a lot I have to say about this car, and there's a lot of people that actually knock this car. So please bear with me while I go over the reasons why you should buy the E60 M5 and why you should ignore all the hate that this car actually has. Okay guys, as you'll see here, this is my BMW E60 M5, which is in Silverstone Blue, Metallic 2, as a lot BMW like to call it. Now, as many of you guys know, I purchased this car quite recently, and it had a lot of issues. A lot of issues that a lot of people would not have been able to sort out, diagnose or fix, or even bother to fix, because a lot of people are scared of them. Now, many of the problems on these cars are normal wear and tear items, but the majority of them are from just neglect. What a lot of people don't understand is these cars, when people purchase them, especially here in the UK, as I've told many of you already, these cars, most people only buy them on warranty because they're scared of them. The majority of people that want to buy these cars know nothing about BMW. As you can see here on this car, and this is a prime example, the people cared about the body. That's why the body is like literally mint condition. They've changed the wheels, they've done that because that part ain't covered by warranty, and they didn't have to really worry about the engine because it was all covered by warranty. But so they've changed all the wheels and just cared really about the normal essentials, you know, how the car looks more than how it actually drives and mechanically, you know, interior wise, electronics. And this is another reason why a lot of people get rid of them. As soon as they have issues, they will get rid of the BMW 60 M5. So if you're considering buying one, as many of you guys already know, there's a lot of bad hate towards this car. Not only is there a lot of bad hate, the first thing people do when they're going to look at one of these is they'll read up online. What they will end up doing is seeing all the so-called horror stories on the forums, and that will instantly put a lot of people off. Now, there is a lot of people that it won't put off and won't care, because then people will probably have money. A lot of people in the UK don't own these because it's not practical. To open this car up, you need to do the 8,000 RPM. There's no roads to really open that. Where I live there is, but if you're in the city, you ain't going to be able to open this car up. That's why a lot more people go for the F10 M5 in the UK, because it's torquey, and because it's got a turbo, it comes in quick and the power's always there immediately. So from takeoff from the lights and in city driving, where this power's not there until after 4,000 RPM. Now, a lot of people, as I said, knock this car. Now, when they do knock this car, you'll read up on the forums of people saying about the SMG gearbox is crap. You'll see a lot of videos on YouTube saying to you not to buy one from people who don't know nothing about these cars. Let me just, you know, clear a lot of things up with you guys right now. Before I purchased this car, I never thought I would have owned one, and I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't knock this car. I did knock this car, but after owning one, let me just tell you guys, I don't regret it. Many of you guys already know me, already know that. I've said that many times. I don't regret owning this car, and never ever will. This car now is like my beauty, and this car's going to stay with me. It's either going to go in storage, but I've been using it daily and it's been absolutely faultless. Now, a lot of people on these forums own these cars from new. Now, what a lot of guys are not aware about is that they'll say the SMG gearbox is crap. Now, if you look at them posts were when this car was new. BMW done 3 updates for this car to rectify the SMG gearbox. The SMG gearbox is not as bad as people make out even driving. It really, really ain't. The updates have rectified most of the issues that were around when it was new, clunking, and, you know, feel like it will thumping you in the back. And if you read them posts, they're all from previous owners who owned this when it was literally brand new. And BMW didn't rectify it until later on, which is normal for BMW. Another load of issues were with the engine, because as you guys know, these like to use the Ionic control modules, and they're basically computerized with the DMECO, so dual core processing ECU. So one of the chips goes to the Vanos control units, the Ionic control units, as many people know them as, which control the current going to the ignition coils. So there was a lot of misfire issues. BMW rectified that as well. But you will see on the forums that many people had a lot of different problems with these cars. Now, the reason why you guys should actually buy one is there is a lot of information out regarding this car on my channel and on other people's channels as well. Before I got this car, there wasn't much information regarding the E60 M5. Most people that do videos like this, telling you why you should buy it, but not actually showing you how you should repair it. And that's not really key to making someone feel comfortable to go and buy one of these cars. But as you guys know, I repaired all this car. It's now drives perfect. We've done the rod bearings, which is another highly talked about subject on the forums. Do not be put off by them. Most people would have had them done by now. They are at the age where most people would have all had them done. Not only that, if they haven't been done, the prices are actually coming down to do that job now. More and more people are getting used to it. It's a job that most garages are even used to, and you'll be able to find to get it done for cheap. Another thing that people like to talk about is the gearbox failing. Now, I ain't ever heard of the gearbox failing. Let me just tell a lot of you guys right now, majority of this gearbox issue stuff is misdiagnosing these cars. Any little thing, now let me explain to you something. I've had many people even with an ABS module, if it's on the same network and tree like the DME, the SZL and the ABS system, it will knock out the gearbox, because the EGS, which is the SMG box, or you know, or your ZF box, is all on the same line as that. So if anything goes down, it will reduce the power to the gearbox, which will throw you a gearbox light as well. And that's vice versa. These cars go a lot of the time misdiagnosed, and everyone thinks there's a problem with the gearbox. These cars do not have issues with the gearbox, and I've seen that many times where it's been a sensor either under the EDC mixes with all the DME, and gearbox will cause the gearbox to go out as well and pull it in limp mode. And this is what a lot of people do not understand. These gearboxes do not go wrong. Yes, the pumps very rarely fail, and the reason they fail is because people driving them at high RPM on the highway in the US, majority of them, and they keep it a red line and don't let the gearbox actually cool down. You have to remember there's a lot of electronics on the gearbox. Not only is there electronics, it's got the gearbox fluid has to cool down. If you're keeping it at high RPM, the gearbox fluid is constantly on the run and not being able to cool back down the gearbox. Therefore, it will damage it. The pumps do go out due to heat. Not that I've ever really known them in the UK, and when you look on eBay, it's like a rare thing to even find a pump for these. You know, you don't find them because it's not a common problem. All of these things that people talk about these cars is crap. You know, it's just literally crap. And I'm being very honest to you. These cars are very misdiagnosed for anything. And as I said to you, if anything goes down, you get a code on the DME, you get a code on the EDC, you get a code on the ABS, it will put the car completely into limp mode, and that is for protection of the engine and the car. I think it's one of the best things BMW ever done, is to stop people driving, because you will get idiots that will drive this car even in limp mode and stop repairing it, and that's not the way you treat these cars. So I'm very happy with the way BMW done it. When there's a problem, you fix it. You don't carry on driving it until you can be bothered to fix it until another problem comes up. No, this car will not let you go that far. This car will stop you driving instantly, and this is probably one of the best cars BMW ever built, because they won't let you carry on. This car will just reduce all your power, and then you'll have to sort the issue. So that's what makes this car a very good car. If you're enthusiastic and it's a car you want, it's a car you like, and it's a car you've always dreamed about, go and get it. Another reason why you should buy this car, it's the only family saloon with a V10 motor. And a lot of people will say to me, why don't you just buy the E63 or the V10? Each to their own, but I'm going to explain to you why I prefer the E60 M5. First thing on these cars is this 5-door, and you can get your whole family in it and load up your luggage, and it's something you very rarely see on the street today, and something the E63 can't compete with. Secondly, these cars come with the active seat bolsters, which the E63 never come with, and everyone knows that. The active seat bolsters are there, and they make this car a dream to drive and a dream to own just with them. And as many of you guys know, the F10 got bolsters, but it was nothing like this where they moved alongside the steering wheel. That's one thing they never did. When you're cornering and then they close you in, you know, this is something that's a lot of people say is a gimmick. If anyone tells you it's a gimmick, ignore them. It's because they couldn't afford the models with the active seat bolsters. It is not a gimmick. Trust me, if you're looking to buy an E60 M5, make sure you get it with the active seat bolster. It's very important, especially for resale. People want that, especially for a future classic. Everyone's going to want the car fully loaded. They are not going to want half a car with no active seat bolsters. Anyone that buys an E60 M5 with no active seat bolsters is truly because they couldn't afford it. Because if you look at the ones with the active seat bolsters, they're actually more expensive than the ones without. And that's God's honest truth. A lot of people on forums will try and tell you not to buy it, and it's all because they couldn't afford it either. It was an expensive option from new. A lot of people will try and tell you it has them, which is here, as you'll see here. It will close in and move out, but that's manual seat bolsters. You don't want that. You want the active seat bolsters, which are here, which you can control, and you also want the heated and cooled seats, which a lot of E60 M5s do not come with in the UK, I assure you of that. In the US, they all come with it because it's normal. But in the UK, this is a very, very rare option to get. In the UK, very, very rare. And that's why I bought it, because obviously I knew about it already and I wanted it with every option, which I did. So I have, if I ever wanted to sell it, I have good leverage of selling mine over any other E60 M5s because of this reason. So if you'll see here as well, I've got probably a rare option which is not seen in many M5s, which I purchased these direct from BMW. I've got the M-embossed headrests on this car because, as you guys know, the people that own this before me decided to cut out the rear headrest to put TVs in it. So I had to purchase new headrests for the car. So we've got the M-embossed headrest right there and right there. So it looks really, really nice and tidy in the car, which I'm really, really happy about. And, you know, it makes the car completely stand out, you know, and gives it that proper M5 look as well. But as you see there, guys, these cars are not unreliable whatsoever. And you get a lot of people on YouTube and on the forums knocking this car. A lot of them are people that can't afford this car, which a lot of people thought I couldn't, which I've now proven I can. And I can look after it. I was choosing not to get it. It's not because I couldn't afford it. It was purely because I didn't want it. But since owning it, I haven't regretted it, and I will never regret it. It's probably one of the best cars I've ever owned and ever driven. And I love this car to pieces. Obviously, if I lived in the city, my situation would be different, and I probably wouldn't own this car purely because I wouldn't be able to use the power that this car actually delivers. So it'd actually be pointless. But that being said, if you are in the market for an E60 M5, my best advice is do not trust any of the YouTube videos. A lot of the people that knock this car are imbeciles. They can't diagnose their car, they can't repair their car, they got it because it's an overhyped car. It's been overrated, and everyone thinks they can own these, but when they actually get them, they can't even diagnose them, and their mechanics can't diagnose them. Do not go by all the people on YouTube who struggle with these cars. That is because, as I said, they're not your average person who knows how to do it. They're buying it thinking they're going to look cool in it, and then realizing that they can't even own it. And you know what? It teaches them a lesson for going out trying to buy this car thinking they can actually own it, and then realize they can't, and it's actually made them look like an idiot because they've had to sell it, and it's now gone to an owner that's actually going to cherish it and look after it the proper way, like I do. And they probably do watch my channel for this. Anyone who's bought any other M5s probably in the US or the UK, to actually see how to repair them, because the electronic issue is very, very hard to diagnose. And I got very lucky with mine, and because of the way I'm very trained and very skilled, I was able to diagnose this car and also been able to fix every issue this car had. And obviously the people I bought it from are watching me and are very, very shocked how I got this car back to its former glory when it had a list of issues that even they couldn't even find out what the problem was. So I'm very, very happy with that. And as I said to you, I bought this car, and if you are in the market looking for one, I tell you this right now, do not hesitate to go and buy one. If it's the car you want and it's the car you like, do not let forums or do not let idiots on YouTube scare you. These people are making the videos calling it unreliable when it's not unreliable. It's only unreliable in the wrong hands, which is their hands. These cars are not unreliable cars whatsoever. And as I said, I'm not going to sit there and allow people to keep knocking this car, putting other people off who actually want this car. This car is probably the most reliable car you will ever get. This car has less issues than your normal BMW motor, and that's being very honest with you, and I've owned a lot of them. This car, providing you the rod bearings, providing you do all the maintenance on it, and everyone's going to sit here and say you have to overhaul it to make it reliable. Well, considering this, when these cars get to 100, 150k, I think that's done very, very well. You know, you wouldn't get a normal Chevy or a normal Ford get to 100k on any of its original parts. So I think this car's done very well, and it deserves to be overhauled, to be driven again for another 100k. The gearbox is effortless. I haven't had to change the clutch. The clutch was changed at 60k on this, and it's still going strong, and I'm very, very happy with the way it come out. So if anyone's telling you stay away from that car because it's bad, it's because they've been watching these idiots on YouTube who they follow, and the people who's telling you that don't know anything about the cars themselves. But I'm telling you from experience, these cars are very, very easy to own. And if you want this car, go and buy this car. And those are the reasons why you should buy an E60. The V10 is like no other engine you'll ever experience. It's an experience of a lifetime to have this engine in a car, and also in a family saloon. Not only in a family saloon, it's a naturally aspirated engine, which is no more. BMW don't develop naturally aspirated engines anymore. So this is a one-of-a-kind engine, Formula 1 engine designed by BMW's Formula 1 division. So if you guys want to buy a BMW 6D M5, go and buy an E60 M5 and don't let anyone tell you any different. Do not believe the forums and do not believe anybody on YouTube. They are talking out their ass about these cars. These people do not fix their cars, they wear them on warranty, and none of them know anything about any car. They want to buy this car and be able to own it without fixing it and without knowing how to deal with it electronically. You can't do that. Unfortunately, you cannot do that, and it's never going to happen for them. So unfortunately for them, they can't own this car, and people like me, I can, and so can you as well, if you're willing to put the time into this car. So there you have it, guys. I've just gone over now why you should buy a BMW E60 M5 in 2020. As I said to you, if you do want one, go and buy one. Do not believe the forums and do not believe other YouTubers who will tell you do not buy this car, it's unreliable, do not buy this car, my car broke again, the worst car in history. Is it? Fuck. It's all bullshit. Do not believe them. You want this car, go buy this car and you will never regret it. So thank you very much for watching this. BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.